So Michael, thanks so much for doing this.
Of course.
Yeah. So tell me exactly, what is your job description?
So I am a funeral director. My primary position is an embalmer. I do a lot of the preparation work, a lot of the behind the scenes things at the funeral home. So I do the funeral directing side of things, which would be meeting with families and helping go on funerals to the cemetery, all of those things. But my primary position is doing things behind the scenes with the people that have passed away, the loved ones that have passed away. So that is my primary duty, and that there's a lot that goes into it. But that's my my brief synopsis.
It's not really the thing that people think about when you think about like a TikTok creator or an influencer or you know how did how did how did that happen?
So I give all the credit to my brother. My brother Connor started our TikTok page, and we were working on this podcast for funeral directors and morticians. And he threw up a video of one of our guests that was answering what was our most famous question or most infamous question that we get, a question that we always get. And for whatever reason, the algorithm in TikTok just blew it up, and people were like, "Oh, I've always wondered this question. I've always wondered that," and it just kind of fell into our lap. We're like, "Oh, okay." Like people are very interested, and then it all developed sort of from there. We were able to kind of find our own different way of getting into TikTok because there are some other funeral directors out there, and that's kind of how it started, and it's just evolved ever since then.
That's amazing. And so what made you decide to do it? I mean, like, what's the main reason for you to start this TikTok channel?
I guess it was we were just kind of throwing it out there to promote our podcast and our little kind of side business that we have going, and it was more for fun and just to see and to promote what we have going, and it just developed from there. There wasn't any grand plan to become famous or anything. To be honest, I don't care at all about that. So it just fell into our laps, and we're just kind of rolling with it and trying to make a difference in people's lives and helping funeral directors' lives too. So that's kind of our dual edge thing that we have going.
Why is it important? Do you feel to be for a funeral director to? I mean, this seems to be a thing, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you're not the only one
right.
who's doing this. You know, could you explain a little bit about what the why this phenomenon has started of like funeral directors going on social media? What's the
Sure.
importance of it?
Sure, I think there's a lot that goes into it. My thinking behind the whole kind of fascination is that the funeral industry was very hidden. It was very secretive for a long, long time. And as many people know, that the funeral industry is still very much family-based, small businesses. So it didn't really get there wasn't corporations taking over all these small businesses where we have seen in almost every other business. So we didn't see the development in the way that other businesses have. So things still seemed behind the scenes to people nowadays where everything is wide open and people are very educated as a consumer. There was still this kind of stipulation about funeral directors in the funeral industries and people thinking that they were hiding things, when honestly the whole reason behind that whole purpose was that funeral directors were trying to be safe and keep families safe and kind of keep them from more graphic things that not everyone could handle. And my whole thing behind that was that kind of led to doing the opposite. Rather than helping families, it kind of went the other way where people were somewhat sketched out by funeral homes and what the whole job was, thinking that they were taking advantage of families, which was absolutely incorrect. And so I think the biggest purpose and the drive behind these social media pages is to show what funeral directors do every day, and so families can see, wow, there is so much love, there's so much compassion, and there's so much effort behind the scenes that people don't understand. I think it really helps to give the value behind the funeral industry that has really kind of gone further and further away from that. So my thinking behind it is there's a lot more progress that we can do and show our value and show our love for the families and everyone we're trying to help.
No, that's awesome. And how important is it to you personally to have that kind of channel or that kind of outlet?
Well, my job, first of all, is extremely important to me. It's everything to me. It's family business. It's been around for over 100 years, so I literally I bleed the funeral home, and I'm so blessed and so fortunate to have my family. And as far as the channel is concerned, I'm glad that I get to help kind of people get their perspective and get them an insight as to what they can expect in the future. And also from the funeral director's point of view, it's a hard job. Like there are a lot of days where you see a lot of very tough things and you have to deal with a lot of emotions from families. And I just love being able to be sort of like an outlet for them and to kind of bring some joy and some wit into like a common situation that a funeral director would have. So I think those are kind of the two different sides that I try to balance, and we kind of split. Half of our videos are to try to help people understand, and half of them are try to entertain funeral directors, which many people are like, I don't understand what's going on. So that's kind of the duality there.
And what's the response? I mean, what type of responses are you getting to this for online and in your environment?
You know, it is incredibly positive. There, of course, you're going to see some comments, as does anyone that posts anything online. That's just the way it goes. But overwhelmingly, the amount of feedback has been positive. People saying how much they value learning this information, and it just gives people insight. And then at the same time, funeral directors really appreciate what we do because we're able to uplift them when they're going through tough times. And there's definitely a slight mix, but overall, I would say a lot more positive than the other way. And I think that's why the videos have done so well, is people are like, oh, we appreciate what's going on, and it's very different. That's a lot of TikTok videos are. When you see something unique, something different, people are captivated by that, and that's kind of how you see, the virality of it.
Can you understand when people say sometimes, well, like this is making light of like a really serious, death is for a lot of people, naturally it's
Yeah.
a very serious kind of matter. Like, do you understand why some people might be like, there's no room for comedy in this?
Absolutely, without a doubt. And I try to do everything I can. My number one thing behind all of it is just the respect for the families and their loved ones that have passed away. I have dealt with it every single day for almost 10 years being a funeral director, and I know the severity and the challenges that come with going through a loss. And I think it's so important to keep that in mind because a lot of people might not understand from a funeral director's point of view. We see this stuff all the time, so it could be easy to say, oh, you don't understand, like we're going through this loss. Nothing could be further from the truth. Like we understand it more than anyone else because we're able to see it and we try to be there and connect as much as possible. So I do see the side of people saying you're making light of a situation, and as challenging as that might be, some of the videos are more geared towards funeral directors, and we kind of have an Instagram page is more geared in that fashion. But on the other side of things, deep down we're just trying to help people understand what is going on behind the scenes and show them what we're bringing to the table and what we do so that families can see, hey, these funeral directors are here for us, they're by our side, and they have to do these challenging things that very, very few people in the world could even dream of wanting or thinking to do. And people dedicate their whole lives, their whole profession to this, and I think it's a beautiful thing.
What do you think the role of like the comment, because a lot of the videos are very funny, like
Yeah.
and they're fun to see. But what do you think the role of the comedy is, like of making it lighter than
Sure. I think that stems from funeral directors usually having a sense of humor. You have to have a sense of humor if you're going to be in the death industry. Otherwise, you are getting hit every single day, every day, every day with horrible things that people only experience a couple times in their lives. Pray to God that that's the case. but you have to have a sense of humor. Otherwise, I think you would just drive yourself crazy. And I think the sense of humor is able to help separate your day to day, those tough actions that you have to take, with a more lighter version of things. So that's why we bring sort of that comedic aspect to some of our videos. So that's where that kind of comes from, I'd say.
That's great. I think that's a great explanation. So with these clips, where do you get your ideas from? I mean, yeah, where do you get your ideas
Sure.
from? Like, what is something? Have you ever been like, maybe I shouldn't show, like,
Yeah.
have you ever been like, this could be on the edge, like, I don't
Yeah.
know if I should show this. I mean, where do you draw the line?
Gotcha. The ideas, my brother and I are brainstorming nonstop. It just like it runs kind of in the back of your mind. You're like, oh, this would be like a good thing for us to do, or this would be something that people would love to be educated about. And whether that's on the funeral side of things or based on cremation or burial, whatever it is, we're always thinking about things that can either educate or, from the funeral side, entertain in some way. And I think we have learned kind of where that line sort of is. Um, Based on like our first few videos, we were like, okay, like some of that stuff was definitely more on maybe like the graphic sort of end, but still very educational. And I think we've kind of steered more towards, ever since then, more trying to do these uplifting, more sort of things that people like really need to understand, as opposed to maybe like the nitty gritty. And I think we do a good job of kind of demonstrating at the beginning of our videos, hey, I'm a funeral director. If you don't want to watch this, I make it very clear that's what I'm doing. That's who I am. So as to, if someone doesn't want to see something, like, we want to give them an opportunity to obviously not see that, if possible. But no matter what, we're always keeping the respect for everyone involved, and that's, like I said previously, the number one thing for me, and for my brother too.
Is there a particular video that you think what's your favorite? What's your favorite videos
Oh
that you've done?
man. So I love the ones that probably have like no views, because those are the ones that are usually catered to my sense of humor and the sense of humor to funeral directors. And in the United States, there's only, I think, 25,000 funeral directors, and that's for the entire country. So it's a very small population, and those videos are the ones that give me the laughs, and I can see the joy that it brings to other people in the funeral industry, and those are my favorite videos that we can do. And it makes me laugh, and it helps me on a day to day basis, and I'm just grateful that sometimes I can help other people get a laugh in too.
Are you surprised by the popularity of the videos?
Shocked. I can't believe it. I mean, I'm just like a normal guy. I really, to be honest with you, I don't really go on social media. So it's just funny that this has kind of happened to us in this whole situation. And I'm just shocked that people are entertained. And hey, if that's working for them, like, I'm gonna keep it rolling, just to keep it going too. And it's a very interesting, very unique situation to be in. And I'm happy to be in it and blessed to be in it.
With some of these videos, do you have to obtain permission from the families? I mean, how does that work?
We never show anything inappropriate. We would never show any human remains ever. We would never show any cremated remains ever. So there's no need really to ever kind of get a permission from a family member, because we're not showing anything along those lines. And there's that would never change. That's for sure.
So that's kind of where you draw the line as well.
Yeah, I think that's the vague line. I would probably push it a little bit more, just to make sure that we're safe. I don't want to be doing anything that would cause anyone offense or anything like that either. We're trying to help people deep down, and trying to make people entertained, and to put a smile on people's faces too, despite a very serious subject. So I think we try to push the line in our favor when we can.
So is this for you? I mean, how important for you personally is it to have the outlet of TikTok? I mean, did you feel? I mean, is it like you said, you need to keep things light in order to survive, to like mentally survive to the line of work that you do? I mean, how
Yeah.
important that is this like one of the tools that you use for that?
I'd say recently, yeah. I mean, obviously this is something that's very new to me, and I've been doing this for a little bit of time now. So I'm lucky that I'm able to kind of separate. Once I go home for the day, that's it. I try to separate my outside life with my work life, because otherwise that's when funeral directors really could have a difficult time, because it's a job that runs every single day of the year, every hour of the year. It doesn't matter what's going on, something could happen. So it's tough to have that separation, but when you can, you got to do it. And I think the videos have helped do that. It's given me more perspective as far as, oh, this is something witty that funeral directors always have to deal with, or this is something that the general public would be like, wow, like that's a good thing to know if I ever am in a situation. So I think it gives me another outlet to kind of vent, if you will. So it's definitely a good thing. I like it.
Um, what what would you like the world to know about the work of a more of of
Yeah.
a funeral director, of a mortician, what, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're trying to achieve that with the videos, but I would say the biggest thing is I want people to understand that funeral directors and morticians, the very, very, very great majority, 99.99%, are in this in order to help families. And that's where this all stems from, is coming from their hearts and wanting to go and help people in the worst of situations and bring them a little bit of light, a little bit of guidance in a difficult time. And I think people that aren't in an industry might think that is different. They might think people are in it for different reasons. And I could tell you, I've talked to so many funeral directors. I've been in this for a long time. Everyone is in it in order to just help these families and make a difference in people's lives. And that's why I do it. When I come home from the day and I know that I've helped a family in even the smallest little bit of way, it makes a huge difference in my life, because I know that I'm helping other people. So I think that's my biggest takeaway and my biggest message, is that funeral directors are putting in a lot of hard work behind the scenes that no one really knows about, and we're trying to show that, and just show the love that funeral directors do have for everyone out there, and that's what it's all about.
That's great. Then finally, I mean, on a separate note, I was
Sure.
wondering, because you guys have like, I saw your website, so you have all these like cool, like the
Yeah.
kind of swag, like
Yeah.
merchandise. Uh, I don't know if you have any with you that
I
you
have
could
a hat. I
show.
have a hat. This is a trocar hat, so that's something that we use in the prep room. But a lot of our stuff on our website is definitely for funeral directors only, because people wouldn't understand what we have going, and it's very different, very unique, and very specific. We are kind of moving into a different line where we're trying to help funeral directors kind of get their name out there a little bit more and kind of make a connection closer with families, and that's sort of our next sort of wave. But we do have some good swag and good stuff on there, and that's all part of our fun, part of our content too. So that's what we kind of started with, and it just rolled into everything we have going now.
Well, that's all. That's great, man. Thank you so much for giving me your
Happy
time,
to,
and yeah, we really appreciate.
of course.
I completely agree with you, and I think it's like for a lot of people, when someone dies, they just that they don't really know what to do, and it's great
Yeah,
that there's someone like you who can kind of guide them
yeah.
towards some kind of
It's an unfamiliar type of space that people find themselves in, and it's something you don't deal with often. And there needs to be more knowledge and more ability to understand. And kind of like I said at the beginning, we're so educated in every single area now, just with the internet and the ability that we have literally in the palm of our hand. But this is one of those industries that still, like, there's some ambiguity behind it. and I think it's just huge that we're able to show that what we're doing is something that's really special, and there's no malice behind it or anything like that. So
Right.
that's the whole deal.
No black overcoats
Yeah,
or like
not
black top
not
hats,
anymore. No, I wear
culture circling above your head,
right.
that type
Yeah,
of stuff.
I wear a quarter zip. I wear sandals in half my videos. Like that. I'm just like living my normal life, and that's just the way it goes. We're not those guys with the dreary white skin, tall old men with the hats. That's not the way it goes anymore. There's a whole new wave of funeral directors coming in, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, hey man, good luck with everything.
Thank
I
you.
think it's great what you're doing,
I
and
appreciate it.